Hi everyone, welcome to Skill Questers Hub. In this video, we will explore keyboard shortcuts in Jupyter Notebook. Keyboard shortcuts help you work faster by reducing the need to use the mouse. Learning these shortcuts can significantly improve your productivity when working with Jupyter Notebook. Jupyter Notebook has two modes, command mode and edit mode, each with its own set of shortcuts. So first let us understand what are these two modes. So first we have the command mode. We enter into command mode by pressing escape key. Okay. So click on the cell and click on escape key. So now we come into the command mode. You can see that the cell is being highlighted. So this is the command mode. So the command mode is used to manage the notebook cells. Okay, so this is the command mode. Next is the edit mode. So if you press enter, you enter into the edit mode. So this edit mode is used to edit the contents of a cell. Okay, so these are the two modes we have in Jupyter Notebook. Okay, and we can view the keyboard shortcuts by clicking on the help menu and clicking on show keyboard shortcuts. So we get the list of keyboard shortcuts. Clicking on close. We can also view the keyboard shortcut by pressing Ctrl Shift H. Okay, this also gives the list of shortcuts. So now let us see the various command mode shortcuts. Okay, so first let's enter into the command mode. So I am pressing the escape key to enter into the command mode, and you can see that the cell is being highlighted. Okay, so now let's see the shortcut to insert a new cell above and to insert a new cell below. So to insert a new cell above, we need to press A in command mode. So we are in the command mode. Now press A. So this inserts a new cell above. Okay. And to insert a new cell below, we need to press B. So we are in the command mode. Now press B. So this inserts a new cell below. Next shortcut we can use is to cut the selected cell. So for that, click on the cell and press escape to go into command mode and press X. So this cuts the cell. And now you need to press V to paste the cell. Okay. So this paste the cell here. Okay. Now if you need to copy the cell, go to the command mode and press C. So this copies the cell. We have copied this cell. And again, if you press V, this will paste the cell. Okay. So X to cut the selected cell, C to copy the selected cell, and V to paste the cell below. Okay. The next shortcut is to delete the selected cell. So to delete the selected cell, click on the cell and press escape key to go into command mode and press DD twice. Okay. So this deletes the cell. So I have deleted both the cells. Okay. Let me also delete this cell. Okay. So the next shortcut is to undo cell operation and to redo cell operation. So to undo cell operation, we need to press Z. So go to the command mode by pressing escape key and press Z. So now the cell that we had deleted is being restored back. Okay. So the cell operation has been undone. Now to redo the cell operation, press Shift Z. Okay. So now this deletes the cell again. So for undo cell operation, it is Z, and for redo cell operation, it is Shift Z. Okay. The next set of shortcuts is to change the cell type. Okay. So to change the cell type, so here you can see the cell type is code for the selected cell. Now we have three code types: code, markdown, and raw. So to change this cell type using the shortcuts, go to the command mode by pressing escape key. Now if you press M, So the code cell type has been changed to Markdown. And if you press R, the code cell type is changed to raw. You can see it here. And if you press Y in command mode, the code type is changed to code. Okay. So we can use the shortcuts M, Y, and R to change the cell type to Markdown, code, and raw respectively. Okay. So the next shortcut in the command mode shortcuts is to toggle line numbers. Okay. So in the cell, if you want the line numbers to appear, we need to press Shift L in command mode. Okay. So once I press Shift L, you can see the line numbers which is displayed here. And if you want to remove these line numbers, again press Shift L in command mode. So the line numbers have been removed. So to toggle line numbers, that is to add or to delete it, we need to use the keyboard shortcut Shift L. Okay. So the next shortcut is to select multiple cells. So now suppose you want to select multiple cells, we need to use the shortcut. First, we need to go to the command mode by pressing escape. So this is a command mode shortcut. Okay, we need to press Shift down arrow to select all the cells below, or we need to press Shift up arrow to select all the cells above. Okay. So the next shortcut is to move a cell up or down. Okay, to do this, first go to the cell and press escape key to go to command mode. Now to move this cell up, press Ctrl Shift up arrow. This moves the cell up. And to move it down, press Ctrl Shift down arrow. Okay. So these are all the command mode shortcuts that we can use in Jupyter Notebook. Next, we have the edit mode shortcuts. So to use the edit mode shortcuts, first we need to go to the edit mode of a cell. So select the cell, and if you press enter, we go into the edit mode. So if you press escape key, we go into the command mode, and if you press enter, we go into the edit mode. So edit mode is where we can edit the contents of the cell. Okay. So let's see all the shortcuts we have in edit mode. So the shortcut for code completion is tab. Okay, we need to press the tab key for code completion shortcut. Okay, so suppose we are writing a line of code, print. So you can type, so I'm typing here PRI and then I'm pressing tab key. So once you press tab, you get the code completion. Okay, so if you just press enter, it gets auto completed into print statement. Okay, so we can use the tab key for code completion. Next, if you want to display the documentation of the function, you can press Shift tab. Okay, so for that particular function print, I have pressed Shift plus tab. So this displays the function documentation, giving the signature, doc type, etc. Okay. Okay, so let me delete this. So now the next shortcut is to undo text changes and redo the text changes. So for undo text changes, it is Ctrl Z is the shortcut. Okay. So I have removed the print statement which I added below. Now if I press Ctrl Z, okay, we get the, if I press Ctrl Z twice, we get the print statement back. So this is for undoing the text changes. If you want to redo the text changes, we need to press Ctrl Shift Z. Okay, so I'm pressing Ctrl Shift Z to redo the text changes. Okay, so the next shortcuts is to select all the text in a cell. For this, we need to press Ctrl A to select all text in a cell. Okay, and Ctrl X to cut selected text, and Ctrl V to paste it back. Ctrl A, Ctrl C to select the text and to copy the selected text. Okay. Okay, so these are some of the common shortcuts which we would have already been known. So Ctrl A to select the contents of the cell, Ctrl C to copy it, Ctrl X to cut it, and Ctrl V to paste it. Okay. So the next shortcut is to comment or uncomment the selected line of code. Okay, for this the shortcut is Ctrl/. Okay, and it is a forward slash. So first select the lines of code, press Ctrl/. So the lines of code is commented. And again, if you press Ctrl/, it will be uncommented. So you can use Ctrl// to comment or uncomment the selected lines of code. So next, let us see the notebook execution shortcuts. So the shortcuts we have for executing the notebook, the cell of a notebook, is the notebook execution shortcut. So the first shortcut is Shift plus Enter. So this will run the current cell and move to the next. So let me press Shift Enter. So this has run the current cell and has moved to the next. Okay. We can also run the current cell and remain in the same cell. So for this, it is Control Enter. So press Control Enter to execute the cell and remain in the same cell. The next shortcut is Alt Enter. Okay. So Alt Enter is to run the current cell and create a new cell below. Okay, so each time I press Alt Enter, it runs the cell and inserts a cell below. Okay. So these are the 3 notebook execution shortcuts we can use in Jupyter Notebook. Next, we have the Save Notebook shortcut. So the shortcut to save the notebook is Ctrl S. Okay, so now currently the last checkpoint is 52 minutes ago. You can see on the top. Now, if I save it by pressing Ctrl S, this last checkpoint is changed to now and the notebook is being saved. Okay, so these are some of the keyboard shortcuts in Jupyter Notebook. I have also prepared a reference guide on the keyboard shortcuts that we have discussed in this video. You can also refer that. I will be sharing the link to this reference guide in the description. In this video, we will discuss menus in Jupyter Notebook. The menu bar in Jupyter Notebook provides options to create, edit, run, save, and manage notebooks. Understanding these menus helps you work more efficiently with Jupyter Notebook. Okay, so this is the menu bar. We have File menu, Edit menu, View menu, Run menu, Kernel menu, Settings menu, and Help menu. So these are the 7 menus we have in Jupyter Notebook. So first, let us explore the File menu. So let me click on the File menu. So the File menu is used to create, open, save, and download notebooks. Okay, so first we have the File New option. So when we click on the New option, we get the options to create a console, notebook, terminal, text file, markdown file, and Python file. Okay. So if you click on New and if you click on Console, so this will create a new console. So it will ask to select the kernel. So select the default kernel, Python 3. And if you click on this drop down, you have the existing kernel, which will have the name of the notebook file that is open. So this is the existing kernel on which this notebook is being run. So here you select the default kernel and click on select. So this opens a console window. Okay. So here on console, we can type the code and execute it. So at the bottom, we have the prompt. So we can type in print test. Okay. And if I press Shift Enter, So this executes the piece of code. Okay, so this is the console. Next, we have the option to create a notebook. So if you click on notebook, a new notebook gets created. It asks for the kernel. So select the default kernel and click on select. Okay, we have a new notebook that is created, which is untitled. Okay. Next, click on File New. Next, we have the option for a terminal. So click on this. So this is the terminal in Jupyter Notebook. So we can run the command as we run in the Windows terminal. Okay, so if I run the command pwd and press enter, so this gives the output similar to the Windows terminal. Okay. Next, click on File New, and we have the option to create a text file, Markdown file, and Python file. So if you click on text file, a text file gets created with the extension .txt. Okay. So let's click on New Markdown file. So this creates a file which can be used for documentation with the extension .md. Okay. Next, if you click on File New Python file, this creates a file with the extension .py. Okay. So we can use the File New option to create a console, notebook, terminal, text file, markdown file, and Python file. And we have seen how to create all these files. Okay. Next, we have the Open option. The Open option opens the file browser to access existing notebooks or files. Okay, so if you click on Open, so this opens the file browser. So from here, you will be able to browse the files and open it. Okay, so let me close this. Next, we have the option New Console for Notebook. So this opens a console connected to the current notebook's kernel. Okay, so if you click on New Console for Notebook, it opens a console, and this console is connected to the current notebook's kernel. Okay, so we have a console that is opened and it is connected to the current notebook's kernel. Okay, next we have the Save Notebook. So this saves the current notebook and all its changes. So if you do any changes to the notebook and click on Save Notebook, it gets saved. Okay, so here you can see the last checkpoint, which is updated to now. So this is saved. Next, we have the Save Notebook as option. So the Save Notebook as option saves the notebook with a different name or location. So if you click on Save Notebook as, you'll get the option to rename this file. Okay, so we can rename this file as copy. I'm adding copy to its name. So create cell copy and click on Save. Okay, so now this saves a new notebook and opens it, and the name of this notebook is create cell copy. So you can check that in the browser here. So we can check that in the browser here. We have create cell copy, which is also created. Next, we have the save all option, which saves all the open notebooks and modified files. So this is similar to the save notebook, so which will save the notebook. Next, we have the file rename. So file rename changes the name of the current notebook. So if you click on rename, you can change the name of this notebook. Okay, so this gives a pop-up to change the notebook. So we can change it to create cell updated. Okay, and click on rename. So now the notebook is renamed to create cell updated. Next, we have the duplicate option. So duplicate option creates an identical copy of the current notebook. So if you click on duplicate, so this creates a copy of this notebook, the same content. So if you go to the browser of the location, we can see there is another new file that is being created, which is create cell updated copy. So this is the file that is being created with the option of file duplicate. Okay. So next we have the reload notebook from disk. So if you click on this, it restores the notebook to the latest version saved on disk. Okay. So if I click on this, it will reload the notebook. Okay. So the reload is done. So here I have a JavaScript code which is present here with the magic command %%js, and below that I have an alert hello from JavaScript. So each time we reload this notebook, the JavaScript is being run. Okay. Okay. So this confirms that there is a reload has been done. Okay. So now if I click on file, reload notebook from disk, you can see that the reload has been done as the JavaScript is being run in this notebook. Okay. Click on OK. Okay, next we have the revert notebook to checkpoint. So this restores the notebook to the last saved checkpoint. So if I click on revert notebook to checkpoint, it will revert it to the last saved checkpoint. So if I click on revert, it will revert it. So since we did not do any changes, it is not reverted. Okay. So now if I add some text here, okay, say print test. Okay. And if I don't save this, and now if I click on file, revert notebook to checkpoint and click on OK, revoke it. So the notebook has been reverted to the last checkpoint. Okay, and the changes that I have not saved has been reverted back. Next, we have the file download option. So download option downloads the notebook or exports it in .ipynb file format, which is the notebook file format. So if I click on download, this downloads the notebook in ipynb format. Okay. Now if I go to the downloads folder, so here you will be able to see the file which was downloaded. You can see the time here, 28 seconds ago, and it is create cell updated. So just click on it. So this is the same notebook that is present. So both the notebooks are same. So it was downloaded in the same format. Next, we have the save and export notebook as option. So this saves the notebook and exports it to formats like HTML, PDF, Python script, Markdown, etc. So let's see that in action. So now let's download it in HTML format. Okay, so this is downloaded in HTML format. We can also download it in Markdown format, which is used for documentation with the extension .md. We can also download it in executable script format, which will be of the extension .py. So this will download the file in the .py format as Python script. So let's click on this. So this downloads the file. So click on keep. Okay, so this downloads the file in .py format. Okay, so these are some of the formats in which you can export the Jupyter Notebook. Next, we have the Trust Notebook option. So the Trust Notebook option marks the notebook as trusted so that the interactive outputs and scripts can run safely. Okay, suppose if you have untrusted present here on the top right, you can click on Trust Notebook. If you are sure if there are no harmful code written in the notebook, if you have downloaded from a known source, then you can click on Trust Notebook, and this will change the, click on Trust. So it will change the notebook from untrusted to trusted. Okay, if it was untrusted earlier. Okay. Next, we have the close and shut down notebook option. So this option closes the notebook and stops its running kernel. Okay. So if I click on close and shut down, so this will close this notebook. Okay. And the kernel will be stopped. So if I click on this, okay, so it has closed it. So now if you want to view it again, we need to reopen it again. So go to the location where the file was present. So it was present in projects folder in the system. Create notebook, create cell updated. So let me click on this and reopen it. Okay. So we can use the close and shut down option to close and shut down the notebook. Next, we have the logout option. So logout option signs you out of the Jupyter Notebook session. So if you click on logout, this will sign you out from this notebook session. So let me click on logout. Okay, so this says successfully logged out. Proceed to login page. Okay, so but if you click on this, still you won't be able to log in. So again, we need to close this and reopen it again. Okay, so only the session was locked out, but we can still reopen it. Okay. Last, we have the shutdown option. So the shutdown option stops the Jupyter server and closes all notebook sessions. Okay, so this stops the Jupyter server itself, not only the notebook, and closes all the notebook sessions. Okay, shutdown. You click on shutdown again. So this stops the notebook. So the Jupyter server is being stopped. Okay, now if I click on the create cell updated notebook, it gives an error. Okay, so these are the options we have in the file menu. Okay, so let me relaunch the Jupyter Notebook. So now I have relaunched the Jupyter Notebook. Okay, and so we have covered all the options in the file menu. So these are all the options we have in the file menu. Next, let us explore the edit menu. So the edit menu is used to modify notebook cells. Okay. So the first options in edit is undo and redo. So undo reverses the last editing action in the current cell, and redo restores the last action that was undone. So let's see that in action. Suppose if I have a code here, okay. So this is the line of code that I have, and I'm saving it by pressing Ctrl S. Okay. Now if I press edit and if I press undo, the print test code that I have added is being removed. Okay. So the last editing action that we had done in a cell has been reversed. Okay. Now if you want to restore it back, then we need to click on edit, redo. Okay. This restores it back. Next, we have the undo cell operation and redo cell operation. So the undo cell operation reverses the last cell level action, and the redo cell operation reapplies the last cell operation that was undone. Okay, so first let's do some cell level action. So by cell level action, they mean by deleting a cell or moving a cell. Okay. So I have this print test here. So let me move this down. Okay, I'm just moving this down. Now if you click on edit, undo cell operation, then it restores the print test cell on top again. Okay. Now if I click on edit, redo cell operation, it reapplies the last cell operation that was undone. Okay. Next, we have the cut cell option. So the cut cell removes the selected cell and places it on the clipboard. So now if I need to cut a cell, so let me cut this cell. I have two print statements. So if I click on edit, cut cell, so the cell is being removed now. Okay. So this selected cell was removed and it is placed on a clipboard. Now we can paste it somewhere. Okay. So click on edit. We have three paste options. One is paste cell below, paste cell above, paste cell and replace. So paste cell below inserts the cut cell or copied cell below the selected cell. Okay. So now I have the print test cell. So let me click on this cell. So now this is selected. Now if I click on edit, paste cell below. So the cell that we have cut is being pasted below the selected print test cell. Okay. Now if I click on edit, paste cell above, the same cell that we have cut is being pasted above. Next we have the paste cell and replace. Let me insert a new cell below. Okay. So now if you press edit, so we have inserted a new cell below which is empty. Now if you press edit and paste cell and replace, so that empty cell has been replaced with the cell that we have cut. Okay. So these are the three ways of pasting the cell. Next we have the copy cell. So copy cell copies the selected cell to the clipboard without removing it. Okay, so let's copy this cell. Click on this cell. Now click on edit, copy cell. So this cell is copied. It is not removed, it is copied. Okay, it is only copied and not removed. So now we can click on edit, paste cell below, above. Okay, so let me click on paste cell below. Okay, so it has pasted the cell below. Okay, so these are the options we have in edit for cut, copy and paste cells. Okay. Next we have the delete cell. So the delete cell option permanently removes the selected cell from the notebook. Okay, so using the delete option, you can delete the cells and permanently remove it. So let's remove all the duplicate cells that we have. So click on edit, delete cell. Okay, click on edit, delete cell again. So it is removed. Here also we have duplicate cells. So let me remove one. So edit, delete cell. Okay. Next we have the select all cells and deselect all cells option. So the select all cells selects every cell in the notebook, and the deselect all cells clears the selection from all the selected cells. Okay. So if you click on select all cells, it selects all the cells in the notebook. And again, if you click on edit, deselect all cells, it unselects all the selected cells in the notebook. Okay. Next, we have the move cell up and move cell down option. So move cell up moves the selected cell one position up, and move cell down moves the selected cell one position down. Okay. So if I want to move this cell of print test one position down, then I can click on edit, move cell down, it is moved down. And if I want to move the same cell up, I can click on edit, move cell up. So it moves up. Okay. Next, we have the edit notebook metadata option. So the edit notebook metadata opens the notebook metadata for viewing or editing configuration details. Okay. So if you click on edit notebook metadata, we get the configuration details of the notebook. So we can view it or we can also edit it. Okay. If you select each cell, you get the configuration details. If I select the next cell, we get for that. And on top, I have a markdown cell. So if I click on this, we get different configuration details. Okay. Let me close this. Next, we have the split cell option. So split cell splits the current cell into two cells at the cursor position. Okay. So if I have the cursor position after print a statement before the brackets in the first cell, so I'm placing the cursor position after print a statement. Now if I click on edit, split cell, it splits the cell into two where the cursor position was present. Okay. So the code before the cursor position becomes one cell and the code after the cursor position becomes another cell. Okay. Next we have the merge selected cell option. Okay. So the merge selected cells combines the multiple selected cells into a single cell. Okay. Okay, so first let's select the cell. So let's go to the command mode. So click on escape, So now you can see that the cell is selected. So it is in the command mode. And in command mode, if you press shift down arrow, it selects all the cells down. So I'm selecting these two cells. And now if I click on edit, merge selected cells, both these cells are merged. Okay. Let me undo this operation. So edit, undo cell operation. Again, I'm pressing undo cell operation. So now it is restored back to print test statement. Next, we have the option to merge cell above and merge cell below. So merge cell above combines the selected cell with the cell directly above it, and merge cell below combines the selected cell with the cell directly below it. Okay. So now if I click on this cell where there are two print statements, the second cell, and if I click on edit, merge cell above, it merges with the first cell, which is the print test statement. Okay, let me undo this operation. Now if I click on edit merge cell below by keeping the cursor on this cell, the second one, by keeping the cursor on the print statement and click on edit merge cell below, it merges with the below cell where we have the function definition of add. Okay. Let me undo the cell operation. So clicking on edit, undo cell operation. Okay. Next we have the clear cell output. Okay. So here print a test. Let me run this. So we have test statement that is displayed here. So the clear cell output removes the output of the selected cell, okay, while keeping its code. So now if I click on edit, clear cell option, so the output of the cell is being removed, okay. Next we have the clear outputs of all cells. So this option removes the outputs from all cells in the notebook, okay. So let's go through the notebook. We have the output for this to print statement. Notebook cells shortcuts is printed. And second, we have the output of print hello world here. Okay. So these are the two cells with the output. Now, if I click on edit, clear outputs of all cells, both the outputs will be removed. So you can see here the output for the to print statement is removed and print hello world output is also removed. So this removes the output for all cells in the notebook. Okay. Next, we have the find option. So find option searches for text within the notebook. So if you click on find, and here if I type, you get the find option on top on the right side. So if I click on print, so it will find print for you in the notebook. So where all print is present, it has been highlighted. And if you click on enter, it will move through all the print statements. So currently it is on the first print statement. It is highlighted more. So if you click next, it walks you through to all the print statements. Okay, so this is find. So let me close this. Okay. So these are all the options we have in the edit menu. Next, we have the view menu. So the view menu controls the appearance of the notebook. Okay. So first let us see the first option we have in view menu, which is activate command palette. Okay. So this opens the command palette to quickly search for and execute the Jupyter commands. So if you click on activate command palette, okay, it opens the command palette and we can search for and execute the Jupyter commands here. Okay. Or you can just scroll down to all the commands that we have. Okay. So like for example, we can click on save notebook. So here the last checkpoint is 18 minutes ago. If you click on save notebook from here, it gets saved. So we can also search for and execute Jupyter commands from the command palette. Next, we have open Jupyter Lab option. So this opens the current notebook in Jupyter Lab interface. Okay, so if I click on open Jupyter Lab, it opens the current notebook in Jupyter Lab. Okay, so this is the Jupyter Lab. Here on the URL, you can see lab. Okay. Next, we have the file browser option. So file browser opens the file browser for accessing files and folders. So if you click on file browser, so this will open the Jupyter Notebook linked file browser. And from here, we can open the files that we want. Okay. Next, we have the show header option. So the show header shows or hides the notebook header containing the title and last checkpoint. Okay. So the header is the header above the menu that we have here. So this is the header. So if you click on view, show header is already been ticked. If you click on this, it gets unticked and the title is being hidden. So now again, if you click on view, show header, the title header is displayed. Okay. Next, we have the toggle Zen mode. So this option hides interface elements to provide a distraction-free editing environment. Okay, so this hides all the interface elements. So let me click on this toggle Zen mode. Okay. Okay, so this opens the notebook in full screen. Okay. So let me click on escape to come out of it. Next, we have the enable full width notebook. So this option expands the notebook to use the full width of the browser window. Okay. So if I click on enable full width notebook, you can see that the notebook width is being expanded to full width of the window. Okay. So let me untick this again. So let's click on this again. It is restored to the default width. Next, we have the table of contents. So table of contents displays a panel showing the notebook's heading for each navigation. Okay, if you click on table of contents, you get the notebook's headings display, which will be useful for navigation. So if you click on the heading cell types, it comes to the second heading. If you click on notebook cell, it comes back to the first heading. So this is easier if you have a long notebook and you want the navigation to be easy. Okay, so let's close this. Next, we have the debugger panel. So debugger panel opens the debugger panel for debugging notebook code. So if you click on debugger panel, we get the debugger which is opened on the right. So this is useful for debugging. Let's close this. Next, we have the show notifications. So this option displays or hides notification messages from Jupyter. So if you click on show notifications, all the notifications from Jupyter will be shown. Okay. Next, we have show log console. So show log console opens the log console to view system and kernel messages. Okay. If you click on show log console, we get the log console at the bottom. So let's expand this. If you pull this up, so we get the log console, okay, which will display the messages. So we can change it to error messages. We can change it to critical, okay, info debug. We can change it, and this is the log console. Or you can click on this option to also clear the log. Okay. So again, if I click on view, show log console, it is been hidden. Next, we have the show line numbers. So this displays or hides the line numbers in code cells. So if you click on this show line numbers, you get the line numbers being displayed in the code cells. Okay, so each cell here you can see there are two lines in this code. Print notebook cells, print shortcuts. So each it is being numbered. Okay, we get the line numbers. So if you want to remove the line numbers, click on show line numbers again, and now it is removed. Next, we have the Open in Jupyter Lab. So this opens the current notebook in Jupyter Lab. So if you click on Open in Jupyter Lab, so this will directly open the notebook create cell that we have in Jupyter Lab. Okay. Next, we have the collapse selected code and collapse selected output. Okay. So this collapse selected code hides the code in the selected cell while keeping its output visible, and collapse selected outputs hides the output of the selected cell while keeping the code visible. Okay, so let's see this in action. So let me run this code, print test. Okay, since print, we just have print test here. Let's consider the next example. We have two statements, print notebook cells and print shortcuts. Let me run this. Okay, and let me select this cell. Now if I click on view, collapse selected code, so the code gets collapsed. Let me click on this to expand it again. And again, if you click on view, collapse selected output, now the output is being collapsed. Okay. So if you click on view selected code, the code and output both will get collapsed. And next we have collapse all code and collapse all outputs. Okay. So the collapse all code hides the code in all notebook cells, and collapse all outputs hides the output of all notebook cells. So if you click on collapse all the code is being collapsed. Okay, it is being hidden. And if you click on collapse all outputs, the outputs will also be collapsed. Okay. Next we have the expand selected code, expand selected output, expand all code, expand all output. Okay. So let's first see the expand all code and expand all output. So expand all code displays the code in all notebook cell, and expand all outputs displays the outputs of all notebook cells. Okay. So now currently in the notebook, the output and the code is collapsed. So now if you click on view, expand all code, so the code is being expanded now. But you can see still the output is collapsed. So click on view, expand all output. The outputs are also visible. Okay. Now for expand selected code and expand selected output. Okay. So expand selected code shows the hidden code in the selected cell. Expand selected output shows the hidden output of the selected cell. Okay, so first let's select the cell. So I'm selecting this cell. Now if I click on view, collapse selected code, click on view and collapse selected output. Now if you click on view, expand selected code and expand selected output, we see that the code is being shown and the output is also being shown. Next we have the code folding. Okay. So code folding enables or disables folding of code blocks within code cells. Okay. So this enables or disables the folding of code blocks within code cells. So first let's select a cell. So let's consider this code where we have add function, and within that we have print of a plus b. So it will add both the values and print it. Now if you click on view and click on code folding and fold current region, you can see that the code is being folded. Okay, so the code block is being folded. Now again you can click it to expand it. Next we have the render side by side option. So this displays markdown source and its rendered output side by side. Okay, so if you click on render side by side, we get the text on one side and the output on the other side. Okay, so we get it side by side. One side we have the code cell and the other side we have the output. Okay, so let's click on view. Let's also disable it now. Okay, so it's back to, so it is restored to the default. Okay, so these are the options we have in the view menu of the Jupyter Notebook. So next let's explore the run menu in Jupyter Notebook. So the run menu controls the execution of the notebook. So let's see the first option. The first option is run selected cell. So this executes the current selected cell and displays its output. Okay. And the cursor moves to the next cell. So first let me clear all the outputs. So edit, clear outputs of all cells. Okay. Now let's run it one by one. So for the first option is run selected cell. So this will execute the current selected cell and display its output and move to the next cell. So now the cell we have selected is the first one. So click on run selected cell. So this executes the cell and the control moves to the next cell. Okay. Next option we have the run selected cell and insert below. So this option runs the selected cell and creates a new cell below it. Okay. So let me keep the control on the first cell, which is of code print test, and let me click on run selected cell and insert below. So this runs the cell and inserts a new cell below it. Okay. Now let me keep the control on this cell where we have the to print statement. Now if I click on run and we have the option run selected cell and do not advance. Okay. So this executes the selected cell while keeping the selection on the same cell. Okay. Now if I click on this cell, it will execute the cell and the control will still remain in the same cell. It does not insert a new cell or it does not move to the next cell after execution. Next, we have the run selected cell or current line in console. Okay, this option runs the highlighted code or current line in the console. First select the code and now if you click on run selected text or current line in console, this opens the console. Okay. Next, we have the run all above selected cell. So this option executes all cells above the currently selected cell. Okay. So first let's clear the output. So click on edit, clear output of all cells. Now the output is cleared. So let me keep the control on this cell. So let me delete this additional one. So let me keep the control on the second cell where there are two print statements. Now if you click on run all above selected cell, it will run only the cell above it. So only this cell print test has been run. Okay. Next we have the run selected cell and all below option. So run selected cell and all below executes the selected cell and all cells below it. Okay, so currently the first cell is selected. Now if I click on run selected cell and all below. So now we can see the control comes to the last cell, and if you scroll above, we can see that all the lines of code has been executed. Okay. So it executes the selected cell and all below it. Okay. So let me clear the output again, clear outputs of all cells. Now let me keep the cursor on the second cell. Now if I click on run selected cell and all below, it executes all these cells, but not the first cell because the cursor was on the second cell. So the current cell which was selected and all the cells below has been executed, but not the cells above it. Okay. Next, we have the render all markdown cells. So this converts all markdown cells into their formatted display view. Okay. So these are the markdown cells. Okay, let me click on this. So we have the text here and this is a markdown cell. So now if we click on render all markdown cells, it executes all the markdown cells in the notebook. Next, we have the run all cells option. So this executes every cell in the notebook from top to bottom. So if you click on run all cells, so we have the cursor down, and if you scroll up, all these cells have been executed. Okay. Next, we have the restart kernel and run all cells. So this option restarts the Python kernel and executes all notebook cells again. So this will execute all these cells and also restart the kernel. So let me click on this. So it asks, so do you want to restart the kernel? So click on restart. So this will restart the kernel. You can see it here on top right. And then it will execute all these cells one by one. So the execution is done. You can scroll up. So you can see all the lines of code is being executed each cell is executed. You can also see the numbering here. So it is a execution of the cells after restarting the kernel. That's where you can see the numbering starting from 1, 2. So this is the order of execution. Next, we have the cell type. So this option changes the selected cell type to code, markdown, or raw. Okay. So let me select one cell. So here currently the cell type is code. If you click on run, you can change the cell type to markdown. So this changes to markdown. You can see markdown option here. Again, if you click on run, cell type change to raw cell type cell. It is changed to raw. And if you click on run, cell type change to code cell type. It is changed to code. Okay. So these are all the options we have in the run menu of Jupyter Notebook. Next, let us explore the kernel menu of Jupyter Notebook. So the kernel menu controls the notebook's execution engine. Okay. So let's see all the options we have in the kernel menu. So the first is interrupt kernel. So this stops the currently running code execution in the kernel. Okay. So if any code is getting executed and if you want to stop it, you can click on interrupt kernel. Or if it is long running, then you can click on select the cell and click on interrupt kernel, or you can directly click on interrupt kernel. Next, we have the restart kernel. So this restarts the notebook's kernel and clears the current session memory. So if you click on restart kernel, it will ask for the confirmation, click on restart. So now here on the right, you can see that the kernel is getting restarted. Okay. Next, we have the restart kernel and clear outputs of all cells. So this restarts the kernel and removes all cell output from the notebook. So this will restart the kernel and also remove the output. Okay, so currently you can see the output is being displayed here. So click on kernel, restart kernel and clear output of all cells. So click on restart. So now the kernel is getting restarted. You can see it on the right and all the outputs are also being removed. Okay. Next we have the restart kernel and run up to selected cell. So this option restarts the kernel and executes cell up to the selected cell. Okay, so let me only select the first cell. And if I click on kernel, restart kernel and run up to selected cell, and click on restart, it restarts the kernel. Okay, once restarted is done, it executes only the first selected cell. Okay, once restart is done, it executes only up to the selected cell. Okay. Next, we have the restart kernel and run all cells. Okay. So this option restarts the kernel and runs every cell in the notebook again. Okay. So click on this. So this will restart the kernel. The restart is getting done. You can see on the right. And the control has moved to the last cell. And if you scroll on top, you can see that all the cells have been executed. Okay. Next, we have the reconnect to kernel. So this option reconnects the notebook to its active kernel if the connection is lost. So click on reconnect to kernel. If in case the connection is lost, you can click on reconnect to kernel. Okay. Next, we have the shutdown kernel, which stops the kernel associated with the current notebook. So if you click on shutdown kernel, the kernel associated with this notebook will be shut down. Okay, will be stopped. So click on this. So here you can see on the right, the kernel is getting stopped. Okay, and here you can see the message kernel unknown. Okay, this means that the kernel has been stopped. So let me click on restart kernel and run all cells. Okay, so now the kernel has been restarted and all the cells have been executed. Next, we have the shutdown all kernels option. So this stops all running kernels in the Jupyter environment. So click on shut down all kernels. Okay. So this again stops all the kernels in the Jupyter environment. Okay. Let me click on restart kernel and run all cells to restore it back. Okay. Next, we have the change kernel option. So this option switches the notebook to a different kernel environment. So click on change kernel. So click on this drop down. So currently the existing kernel is create cell updated. If you want, you can create a new kernel and connect the notebook to the new kernel. So let's click on this. Click on Python 3 and click on select. Okay. So this switches the notebook to a new kernel. Okay. To check if it's working fine, click on kernel, restart kernel and run all cells. Click on restart. Okay. So this is restarting the kernel and all the cells have been executed. Okay. So these are all the options we have in the kernel menu of the Jupyter Notebook. Next, we have the settings menu. So the settings menu controls the notebook's settings. Okay. So let's explore the first option, theme. Okay. So the theme option changes the overall appearance of the Jupyter interface. Okay. We can change the theme to dark or light. Okay. So click on theme. So click on Jupyter Lab Light. So the theme is being changed. Again, if you go to settings, theme, and if you click on Jupyter Lab Dark, the theme is changed to dark. Now, if you again go to themes and we have the option to change the UI font size, okay, code font size, content font size, okay. So if you click on increase code font size, so the code inside the cell size will be increased. So you can see it has been increased. Now again go to settings and if you click on decrease code font size, it has been reduced. Okay. And then we have the increase content font size. So click on this. Entire content's font size has been increased. If you click on settings, theme, decrease content font size, it has been reduced. Then we have increase UI font size. So if you click on this, we can see that the menu font size has been increased. So let's decrease it, decrease UI font size. Okay. That is all for theme. Next is the language. So this is the display language of the Jupyter interface. So that is by default English. If you get other options, you can change that. Okay. Next, we have the autosave documents. So this option automatically saves notebooks and documents at regular intervals. So this automatically saves based on the autosave setting that has been configured. Okay. So the default is 120 seconds. Okay. Next, we have the console run keystroke. So this option sets the keyboard shortcut used to run commands in the console. Okay, so currently it is set to Shift Enter. So first let's enter a console. So click on File, New, Console and click on Select. So this opens a console. So here also you get the same settings. So here in these settings, we have console run keystroke, which is set to Shift Enter execution. So now if you click on, let's type a code, print, test. Now, if you click on enter, it doesn't execute the code. But if you click on shift enter, it executes the code. Okay. Now I'm changing the setting to execute with enter. So now if you type the code and click on enter, it executes the cell. Okay. So this is the setting. So let me restore it to shift enter. So you can change the setting for the console using the option console run keystroke. Next, we have the text editor indentation. So this controls the indentation settings for text and code editing. Okay. So it is currently the indentation for tab is set to 4 spaces. Now let me create a text file. Okay. So this is an indentation for the text file. Okay. Text editor indentation and it is for, and the tab indentation is 4 spaces. Now, if I click on, so let me type till 1 to 9, let me click enter. Now if I click on tab, you see the cursor goes after 4 spaces. Okay. Now let me change the settings to text editor indentation to 8 spaces. Okay. Now if I click on tab, it moves 8 spaces. Okay. Now again, if I change it to 4 spaces, if I go back here, now if I click on tab, it is changed to 4 spaces. Okay. So that is the text editor indentation. Next, we have the auto close brackets. So this automatically adds the closing bracket, quote or parenthesis while typing. Okay. So if I put the auto close bracket, if I check this, and now if I type a code, say I'm typing print, typing a bracket, so the close bracket also appears automatically. Okay. Let me delete this. Now if I click on settings and uncheck this auto close brackets. Now if I go to type print and the brackets, we don't get the close brackets. Okay. So this is auto close brackets. Next we have the increase text editor font size and decrease text editor font size. So the increase text editor font size makes the text in the editor larger for better readability. And if you want to reduce it, you can use the decrease text editor font size. Okay, so let's see that in action. So here we have the text editor. Okay, and we have the code. Say we have the code. Okay, testing code. Now, if I go to settings and click on increase text editor font size, okay, you can see that the text size is increasing. Okay, it is increased now. So it is increased now. Now, if I go to settings and decrease it, it gets smaller. Okay. So this is the increase text editor font size and decrease text editor font size. Next, we have the text editor theme. So this changes the color scheme and appearance of the code editor. Okay. So this is also text editor theme. So let me go to the text file. And here, if you click on settings, text editor theme to code mirror, the look and feel is changed. Again, if you go to that and click on the default one, which was Jupyter, the look and feel of the theme is changed. Okay. Next, we have the increased terminal font size and decreased terminal font size. So this increases or decreases the text size displayed in the terminal. So let me open a terminal, file new terminal. Okay. So here we have the terminal. If you want to increase the font size, so increase terminal font size, you can see the font size is getting increased. Now to reduce it, decrease terminal font size. Okay. So the font size is being decreased. Next we have the terminal theme. So terminal theme changes the appearance and color theme of the terminal. Okay. So again, let's go to the terminal. And here on settings, terminal theme, if I change it to light, the color theme is being changed. So if I change it back to inherent, you get the default. Okay. So these are all the options we have in the settings menu in Jupyter Notebook. Next, let's explore the help menu in Jupyter Notebook. So the help menu provides documentation and reference materials. Okay. So let's explore all the options we have in the help menu. So first we have about Jupyter Notebook. So this displays information about the Jupyter Notebook version and the details. Okay. So if you click on about Jupyter Notebook, we get the version details, okay, which is displayed here, and all the other details. So click on dismiss. Next, we have the show keyboard shortcuts. So this displays the available keyboard shortcuts for the notebook. So if I click on show keyboard shortcuts, we get the keyboard shortcuts that are displayed. So let me click close. Next, we have the Launch Jupyter Notebook File Explorer. So this options opens the file browser to manage notebook and files. So if you click on this, this opens the file browser. Okay. Next, we have the Jupyter reference, which provides general reference information about Jupyter Notebook features. So if you click on this, it is redirected to the Jupyter reference documentation. Okay. Next, we have the Jupyter Lab FAQ. So this provides answers to frequently asked questions about Jupyter Lab. So if you click on this, it gives a Jupyter Lab FAQ. So all the frequently asked questions on Jupyter Lab. Next, we have the Jupyter Lab reference. This provides documentation and reference materials for Jupyter Lab. So let me click on this. So if you want to explore more on Jupyter Lab, then we can go through this documentation. Okay. Next, we have the Markdown reference. So this provides a syntax guidance for writing and formatting Markdown cells. So if you click on this, you get the information on writing text in the Markdown cells. Okay. Next, we have the about the Python 3 IPy kernel displays so this displays information about the Python kernel used to run notebook cells. So if you click on this, we get the information about the IPy kernel, which runs the notebook code. Okay. So about all the Python, its version, all is displayed. Okay. So click on close. Next, we have the Python reference. So this provides documentation and reference information for the Python language. So if you click on this, so most of the language that we use in Jupyter Notebook is Python. So this redirects to the documentation of Python. Okay. Next, we have the NumPy reference. So this provides documentation for NumPy functions and numerical computing tools. Okay. So if you click on NumPy reference, you get the documentation to use the NumPy module. Okay. Next, we have the SciPy reference. So this provides documentation for SciPy libraries used for the scientific computing. So if you click on SciPy reference, so this provides a documentation of the SciPy modules. Okay. Next, we have the Matplotlib reference. So this provides a documentation for creating graphs and visualization using Matplotlib. Okay, so we have the Matplotlib library module. So we can get the documentation for Matplotlib from here. Okay. Next, we have the SymPy reference, which provides documentation for symbolic mathematics using SymPy. So if we need to work with the SymPy module, you can get the documentation from here. Next, we have the Pandas reference. So this provides documentation for data analysis and manipulation using Pandas. Okay, so let me click on this. So if you need a Pandas module documentation, we can go through this documentation for Pandas. Next, we have about Jupyter. So this provides general information about the Jupyter project and ecosystem. So click on this. So we get all the information on Jupyter. Okay. Okay, next we have the Markdown reference, which is the same reference as the Markdown reference we had here earlier. Next, we have the documentation. So if you click on this, this opens the official documentation resources for learning and troubleshooting Jupyter. So let me click on this. Okay, so this gives the official Jupyter Notebook documentation. Okay. So these are all the options we have in the help menu of a Jupyter Notebook. So these are all the various options that we have in the menus of the Jupyter Notebook. I have also prepared a reference guide with the menus that we have explored in this video. You can also refer that. I will be sharing the link to this reference guide in the description. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe to my channel.